What's up, good people? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Hopefully everything is okay and I can be heard. Hopefully everything is okay and I can be heard. Yeah. It looks like all systems are a go. I'd like to thank everybody for being here in the building this morning. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button when you make your way in here. Or if you're catching it on the restream, hit the like button as well. And without further ado, let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's going on? What is up? Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. Hopefully you had a wonderful Friday. I did. Got good news and good things done. Yesterday when I was on the air, I got a call and I just had to stop the show. I had to play the not that I had to play the then after I played that, then I think I just played the whole intro. And then it still wasn't done. Got a very important business call that I couldn't get away from. I had to get that worked out the last time I was on the air, and that culminated in something very big for the show that's coming down the pipeline in the future. Hopefully early to mid November, it will be in manifestation, and I can't wait. Just giving teaser trailers of what's going on, but we will be getting into that. We're going to be getting into a number of things. But shout out to the early bird squad, those that make it in bright and early. Carl Belton in the building says, "Good morning, Mama cooking, we the people." I'm going to talk about that because to some degree, I feel like he kind of has gotten away from that "we the people" vibe. I'm going to be getting into a lot of that, and never was a big fan of. Well, Mama's cooking was kind of cool, but it was. I've talked about that before. But the "we the people" thing, I think he kind of gotten away from that a little bit. I could be wrong. Logan JJ in the building says, "Salute to BR in the chat. Hit the like button on the way in." Thank you, Logan JJ. Appreciate that. Excalibur in the building says, "Salute, brother Bernard." Shout out to you. Lesson burned. I like that. Lesson learned, lesson burned. I like it. Randy to Whitlock on site. Yeah, I hear Randy Moss challenged him to a boxing match. Or they are throwing hands on site. I don't know. He says, "What a coincidence! I literally just watched that video 10 minutes ago." Right on, right on. We on the same page. We on the same page. Ray Hanna, the Hanna Force in the building, says Bernard Riley in chat. Peace, Bowdy Thug. In the last one, well, not the last one. Shout out to CJ NBM, who agrees with me. Randy had no business crying like that. I was about to do a whole show on that on Friday. But like I said, the business that I had to take care of, I did want to make sure I was properly prepared for that. But I was about to do a whole show on Friday about these dudes crying over little stuff, and I just feel that, shut up. Shut up. Devil's Bane in the building says, salute Bernard and chat. Shout out to Devil's Bane coming through with the first super chat. Appreciate you. Appreciate that. But yeah, we about to dig into this thing. I got the clip ready to go. See, the first thing I was going to get into was the Randy Moss situation. I was going to do a whole show on that on Friday, so I'm about to just go ahead and touch that right now because it segues right into the discussion with Kwame Brown and Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock is somebody who I really like. I think he gets it. He talks a lot about black masculinity and men in general, black men in particular, essentially being men. And we've had some discussions about the agenda out there, the agenda to effeminize black men. Well, I think in general, the preaching and teaching of an egalitarian society and more things, so many layers and highs, lows, and in betweens with all of that. But yes, if you do that, if you come through, you try to teach a generation. I'm not talking about the grown men like me. I'm almost 40. I turn 40 next year. Men like me, we are who we are. We here. But a next generation of boys that are coming up in a society that says, hey, men are no different than women. Women are no different than men. You should be more in touch with your sensitive side, more in tune with your emotions, and you should do this, and you should feel this, and you should feel that, and it's when you drive those points home, and it's a number of things. Like I said, it's a lot of layers to it. You're removing recess. They do a lot of things to try to to try to pipe down boyhood aggression. They're doing a lot of things like that. It's a brute fact of reality right now, and I don't think it's some diabolical scheme. I just think that we're not getting into that. We're not getting into that part. However, it is a thing. Which means that fast forward 20 years later, yeah, the average man is probably not going to be as masculine as the average man was 30 years ago or 40 years ago, just through just a change in culture. Just a change in culture. That's just the reality of how things are and how things play out and how things happen. Make sure you hit the like button when you make your way in here. That's the natural progression to what we're essentially seeing, is that a lower percentage of men will be masculine traditional men in this more effeminized non-traditional society. It's just a natural fact of reality. Somebody said training bras for everybody. Devil's Bane says, when's the tinfoil hat stream? I'm not doing that. Fantastic took over that. Okay. Yeah. I had the idea, and then right around time when I was playing around with the idea, Fantastic started doing tinfoil Tuesdays. And he actually do put his, like, I'm an anti-tinfoil guy. I don't believe in, alternative conspiracy theories. I think that a lot of times it's just people just trying to cook something up. I think if you got an alternative theory, that theory need to have just as much evidence as the original theory, or significantly more evidence than the original theory, or you just shooting in the dark too. But I like where Fantastic is going with the Tinfoil Tuesday thing, so I decided to leave it be, because he's doing it and doing it good. I wish I wish that took off a little more. Even though I'm not with everything that's said on there, I like the concept. I like the concept. Hood Server, the Culture and Politics Review in the building says, first you voted for Biden, now you're crying like a BI. I didn't know Randy voted for Biden. I mean, it was a fair guess. I would have guessed he voted for Biden, but I didn't actually know that was the case. I just would have assumed it. I would have just assumed it. But what am I trying to find? There it is. That's what I was trying to find. Shout out to Hood Conservative. So aliens are not probing people's butt. No hard, pun intended, no hard evidence that aliens are probing people's butt. Pun intended, not, no hard evidence of that. None whatsoever. But what was I talking about? The perception of normalcy is the only so-called conspiracy. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. No butt stuff. Yes, I said no butt stuff. All right. Now, getting into this, we all know the story at this point where before we get into Jason Whitlock and the Kwame Brown situation, we all know the story at this point where John Gruden made some comments. Oh my goodness, this is where I'm terrible at this, y'all. Y'all watch me, but I'm actually terrible at this because I'm bad with names. What's the name of the guy that John Gruden made the comments about? Darn it. What's the name of the guy? I know y'all probably got it in the chat. I'm trying to look it up. DeMaurice Smith. Okay. DeMaurice Smith. Okay. DeMaurice Smith. Dang it. I'm bad with names. Horrible with names. But John Gruden made some comments about DeMaurice Smith. Okay. Said something about his lips through an email. It was unprofessional because it was a company email. You could talk about all of that. It wasn't business professional to be clowning somebody about their lips. And I think he called him stupid. Okay. Saying that you think somebody's stupid, that's not exactly racist if you genuinely think that the man is stupid. Like, there's nothing technically racist about that. You just think that he's stupid. Talking about his lips, there is a racial element to that. It is. Because black people on average have bigger lips. Like if a white guy just out the blue just said to me, hey, big lips. It's like I have normal sized lips for a black person. I have normal, here I am sounding just like that. I have normal black lips. But DeMaurice Smith, D, is a man who has bigger lips than normal. Okay. He made a comment about his lips. Was it racial? Yes. I will concede that it was racial. Was it outright racist and fire-worthy? No. I didn't think so. He made a joke. He said his lips look like Michelin tires. It was a joke. All right. At the end of the day, he made a joke through email about somebody's lips. Now, it's a number of different angles to go here. Okay. It's a number of different angles to go here. I'm about to play the clip. Then I'm going to get into the other angle that I'm going to go, because this is an angle that don't nobody go with this. I'll give you out a teaser trailer for it. We talk about black people not having any power in this country, but if somebody make a borderline racial statement about a black person 10 years ago, they get fired. Now we talk a lot about the small hats, as as a shout out to Sub Zero, the small hats as he calls them. They got the Anti-Defamation League. They will crack down on you if you do this A, B, C, or D, or say something about them. Well, it happens to be the case that apparently it's the same thing with black people. But we talk about how we this downtrodden, all of that, this or that. However, people in positions get moved out on a whim of saying something 10 years ago. Now, uneducated lame says that's not power. Okay, explain to me, would you call it power if he made a comment about a gay person and got fired? Would you say gay people don't got any power in this country? See, I'm going to get into that. I want to examine that because I understand it's a difference, because no black person is truly in the position of authority, even though DeMaurice Smith, if I understand, he had a pretty high up position there, or got a pretty high up position. Now, hold on. His job title. I get that no black person is in the position of power in that situation. So I'm not saying it's a full power flex, but what I'm saying is everybody got to walk on eggshells, can't say nothing wrong 10 years ago about a black person, or they can get fired today. Now, somebody said in the chat, very interestingly, that's not black power, that's white people policing themselves. But why are they policing themselves against people who they supposedly have power over? Why are they policing themselves against somebody who they, got power over? We're gonna get into that. We're gonna discuss the degree in which some of the things. This is where I complain, and I'm about to complain a little more about black people crying about racism, but it's almost like that crying about racism does move the needle on some things to where somebody who's in position, a high up position, head coach in the football in the National Football League, head coach in the NFL, can get fired for a comment he made about a black person 10 years ago. So I do got to examine that complaining about racism has yielded some results. If the result you want is a football coach getting fired for something he said 10 years ago, if that's the result that you want. But DeMaurice Smith is the executive director of the National Football League Players Association. That's where he's at. That's what he is. And he happens to have some pretty big lips. Happens to have some pretty big lips. All right. That was a comment. I don't got the exact quote pulled up in front of me. I could pull that up for those of you who need to hear the exact quote. I'll pull up the money shot and read it to you before we play the video. All right. His lips ain't that big. Okay, John Gruden is racist. I just looked at a picture. His lips were not that big. They normal black lips. Oh, and this article would be big as hell. Okay. Dang it. That was another thing I should have had ready to go. Should have had the exact comment ready to go. But now I can't. I'm not going to bore y'all trying to read through this to find one comment. If somebody got a link of the exact comment so I can and send it to me, drop it in the chat so I can read it so people can hear the exact comment. But long story short, he said DeMaurice Smith had some big lips, and now they said DeMaurice Smith lips look like Michelin tires, and he and I believe it referred to him as stupid. That was the general gist of it. Okay, that was the general gist of it. Calling a man stupid because you think he's stupid is okay. If you say he's stupid, but I know he's stupid because he's black, that's one thing. You say he's stupid because you think he's stupid, that's okay. All right, now let's roll. We're gonna play this from the beginning. We're gonna get the lead up because the white lady kind of was baiting Randy Moss, edging him on. Let's go.
Emotional responses to this. Teddy, I hear you.
Hold up. Let me get this ready to go. Let me put at least one earpiece in. Thank you, everybody that's in the building. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. That helps with the algorithm. That lets people know that you are in the building, and it invites more people on in. So come on in. Let people know you're here. Let's go. Let's get it.
Are you saying basically, if you were in that locker room today, you kind of just put your head down and you think of him as the leader in terms of the decision maker, but not necessarily a leader you respect? I'm curious from your perspective, Randy, if you were in that locker room today, would you be able to play for him?
You know, to speaking of Teddy's point, you know, basically you hear us talk about.
Real quick, let's pump the brakes and just say this really fast. It's been infinitely worse said in that locker room, the locker rooms that Randy Moss has played in. It's been infinitely worse things said. So that if you were in that locker room, would you be able to play for him? It's been infinitely worse things said in a damn locker room. Like, come on, Randy.
We got work to do. We got a job to do, and that's to provide for our families. And Teddy hit it right on the head of just putting your head down and going playing football. You know,
I don't necessarily like when professional athletes, I'll be real quick because I do want to let the tape roll, but I don't necessarily like when professional athletes say we got a job to do. We're trying to provide for our families. I mean, like, look, when y'all making $10 million a year, y'all are beyond the provide for the family phase. The construction worker is trying to provide for his family. Y'all are, you don't talk like us. You're not us. We have a job to do. We're trying to secure generational wealth for the next generation. You could say that. You could say that. But don't make it seem like it's a difference between food on the table or not food on the table. But anyway, that's just a little personal pet peeve of me. It just, I'm just reminded of when Latrell Sprewell said that $15 million a year. No, I think $10 million a year, $9 million. I forgot what it was. He said it was an insult. He said, this is an insult, man. I got a family to feed. What is this? $15 million a year. Psst. I got a family to feed. This is ridiculous. Like, no, come on, man. Come on, man. Just don't talk like that. And then negotiate for your money. Get your money. I'm not saying don't get your money. But don't say goofy stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. Be like, no, I could ball. I average 20 points a game, and you need that, and it costs more than $15 million. We can start negotiation at $25 million. Just say that.
I speak about the game of football. I fell in love with the game of football. Sam was 6 years old, and I get emotional talking about it because of situations like this. My civil rights were taken, were kind of messed with in high school over the color of my skin, and now being able to play 14 years in the National Football League, to have something like.
Hold on, real quick. He beat up a white boy and got locked up. That was sort of the story that happened. Whether or not he should have been locked up the way he was locked up, I don't know, but he did beat the hell out of somebody. I think that's the general story as I remember it. Anyway, backing up.
Were kind of messed with in high school over the color of my skin, and now being able to play 14 years in the National Football League, to have something like this of a leader. We talk about leadership. We give guys these big contracts because they want to be able to lead 70 men, coaches, equipment staff, and managers to the number one goal, and that's to win the championship. And for us to be moving back and not forward in 21st century, like I said, man, National Football League, this hurts me. The clock is ticking, man. I'm sorry.
No.
I can play.
Come on, Randy. Come on. Come on. Shout out to Mr. Fantastic. It's like they just want that hug. They just want a hug from white people. It's crazy. Why is this grown man crying because a football coach 10 years ago made a joke about a man's lips? Now, personally, his lips, saying his lips look like Michelin tires, that is one that, amongst black people, we can, we can say amongst each other that's actually a good one. Damn it, I wish I would have had that one back in the 7th grade. I would have killed it. But anyway, anyway, it's no reason for him to be sitting there crying over this. Crying. I'm about to get into that. Hold on. Sika and Yang in the building with the $25 super chat. Definitely appreciate that. Thank you for coming on through hard and heavy with the super chat. Biden becomes president despite making overt race. Okay, here we go. You don't vote for me, you ain't black. I think that was more racist than John Gruden's statement. Thank you. That statement right there was actually more racist than what John Gruden said. I played a clip on my show before about it was just a montage of every racist or stupid statement that Biden has made. Most of them was worse than what John Gruden said. Now, let me make one thing very clear. I'm not shedding a tear or lighting a candle for John Gruden's job. I mean, it's whatever. Okay, fire him. Yep, and replace him with a black man. Okay, fine. I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I am absolutely 100% good with that. That's where I, don't really give a damn. Go ahead and fire him, replace him with a black man. Do it. However, so even though I'm not shedding a tear or lighting a candle for John Gruden in any way, shape, or form, I do gotta point out the utter and ridiculous nonsense in how black people in the media react to this stuff. Joe Biden becomes president despite making overt racist statements. John Gruden makes a semi-racist comment and has to resign. Now he got fired. That resign. Don't buy that resign. That's just how they do it, just so it can look well, so it can look right. It helps his future getting a job and everything else. It looks better on paper and to the media. They say he resigned. Black people have power. They just wait for white people to tell them when to use it. Wow. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Uneducated Lame says, I could agree with that. It's more racist, but what John Gruden said is still racist. It's more racial. It was. I'm not going to BS anybody and say that talking about a black man's lips is kind of it's racial. It's not necessarily racist to me, but it's racial, and it kind of depends. Like if he said black people lips look like Michelin tires, okay, that's one thing. But if he say one particular black man's lips look like some Michelin tires, then look, it's racist only because a history of jokes or comments or statements in this country. We can go back to the minstrel shows and the whole little thing. Like we know when we get we get the genesis of it. What he said wasn't racist, but it's just it's a taboo thing, not even a taboo. It's just an unspoken thing that as a white person you just don't touch on that. You just don't say nothing about that. You just don't comment about it. You know, that's more so what it was. Sika and Yang says Randy Moss fake mooned more than 70 million women and children. Now he out here sounding like a Southern Baptist preacher crying about morality. F out of here. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's just fakeness. It's just almost like an engineered, trot this crying Negro out to say it's come on, man. Come on, like put it like this. This is what I'm about here. This is what I'm about here. Publicly, we should be displaying strength. In that situation, if you think he was wrong, listen, even if you were pissed, even if you think it was absolutely racist, here's what you should say. This is what you should say. You just look right at the camera and say, yeah, he was wrong. I don't care if he said it today. I don't care if he said it 10 years ago. If you make a racist comment about a black man, you're out of here, and that is what it is. And then let them pass the mic to somebody else. Do that. And then even if I have some disagreement about how racist the comment was, you at least grab your nuts and sounded like a man when you made your comment. That's my point. But to get out there and just cry, just get, and I just, what the hell is that? That's terrible. It's embarrassing. Shout out to Sika and Yang in the building with another one. I would have rather him just flex like that. And I've been like, hey, all right. I would have rather him done that. Quincy X in the building says somebody sees this is Las Vegas politics. I didn't even average that into the equation, so I don't know. You might be onto something. Who knows? But yeah, that statement was ridiculous. That statement was ridiculous. I'm about to roll some more of the tape because there's one more thing in here that I do want to highlight.
For you, but I'd rather not. Okay, I'd rather not do it, but if I have to do it, I will. And it's just because I have other people that I have to provide for, right? But I'd rather not do it.
Yeah.
But we've done it before in different situations. We are all before in different.
Somebody come look at this.
Yeah.
But we've done it before in different situations. We are all mentally tough people in that locker room, but it's something you'd rather not do.
Yeah. So this is what I think about. It's like,
or not do it.
Yeah.
But
right there.
We've done it before in different situations.
He doing that stuff. I talk about that all the time. How when you're on TV and they put makeup on you and you can't really wipe the tear because you'll smear the makeup, so they be just sitting there just they just got to dab the tear. He doing the tear dab thing that women do when they cry on TV. Looking ridiculous.
All mentally tough people in that locker room, but it's something you'd rather not do.
Yeah. So this is what I think about. It's like Randy sitting up here feeling this way from it.
And now you can hear her voice cracking. Now notice this one thing. Notice this important thing. The other men there, they're just having a conversation about it. They're just talking about it. The woman, the emotional one, who we generally expect to do some crying. Okay, women cry. I don't even mind when women cry. They cry, and they cry because they cry. They're women. That's fine. No big deal there. So the woman who's in the special victims, I'm sorry using that, the special victims unit, all the people, that's everybody that's a special victim in this country. The woman is crying, and the black man, who also is in the special victims unit, is crying too. I don't like it when us as men get in the victim crowd. I don't like it. I don't like it. We need not be there. There are other ways to get results and get things done. Oh man. So it's embarrassing. where the other men they just explaining what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it, and what they think about it, and that's that, and move on. Everybody else going to cry. And yes, there's some white men who be crying on TV. How the Detroit Lions coach, he cried after a really big loss. Tough loss. Lions be having some tough losses. Oh my goodness. I live in Michigan, so not a huge Lions fan, but I duck in. I peek in there on them. Go to a game here and there. Not a big diehard fan. I'd rather watch Lamar Jackson. I'd rather watch the Ravens than the Lions. So that's where I'm at with it. But yeah, it's such thing as men crying on TV. It happens. It happens. So I'm not saying it don't happen, but in this situation here, what I'm seeing looks bad. This whole downtrodden mentality is just stupid to me. It's getting annoying. Grown as NFL Hall of Fame, super athletic, masculine touchdown scoring, probably should have won MVP over Tom Brady in that year where Tom Brady threw for 50 touchdowns, but almost 25 of them was to Randy Moss. This man, he was a man among boys that year. This man among boys is breaking down crying over a comment that really had nothing to do to you, wasn't about you, and wasn't even in general about black people. It was just specific and about one individual. It's blowing me away that he's crying about this. It just looks all right.
Tough people in that locker room. But do.
Yeah, so
It was like, the black man cry, not a woman about to follow up and cry.
This is what I think about. It's like Randy sitting up here feeling this way from a distance. I can't imagine a guy in that locker room today trying to play a football game feeling that way.
With a heavy heart.
How? I don't know.
Trying to play a football game with a heavy heart. They got him. He fired, but I still got to play with a heavy heart because my coach made a statement that's essentially made in this locker room every day. That goes back to the engineering, the trying to inception people with bad ideas. How is they going to feel knowing they have to get up and try to play, knowing that he said that 10 years ago? No, people in the know that they say that type of stuff in the locker room all the time, every day. Now, the coach may not say it to a player, yeah, but the players are saying all that amongst each other. That's normal. That's the playing of dozens at best. But again, it's trying to get the ideas out there, the ideas that this PC society is what we live in and what we want and how we operate, and that's the status quo, that's the norm. Those are the social norms. It's deliberately bending over backwards to try to put that out there. And now everything else is unacceptable. Like even when a comment is made, and I'm trying to roll through this. Because I ain't even got to the main thing I want to talk about. I'm trying to roll through this, so just bear with me because I just got to get this off my chest. It says, grew up loving Randy as a player. They emasculated him and Ryan Clark. What do you mean they emasculated him? Who emasculated him? I think he emasculated his dad. Well, okay, that's yeah. I see people are making free decisions right here, but whatever. But either way, be that as it may. Damn it! Now you made me forget what I was going to say. All right, I'm gonna roll it. I'm gonna come back to that point. It'll come back.
I don't know how. What, Max, Matt, or Rex? I would love to hear your perspective. What should the NFL do right now? You see this response, and you guarantee there's a version of this response in that locker room. What should they do? How do you make this right? How does John Gruden make this right at this point, or is it a lost cause?
I'm at a loss.
They made it right. They fired the person who supposedly did something horribly wrong. This isn't a make right situation. Like this isn't holy crap, the Clippers owner, Donald Sterling. This isn't on Donald Sterling's level. This isn't, I don't want black people at my games, even though I hire more black players. Or you can be around black people. Just don't take pictures with them and don't bring them to my game. Like this ain't that. That was something different. And it was very current when John Donald Sterling did that. This isn't like you can't treat this like it's the same as that. Yeah, Donald Sterling, yeah, he had to go. He had to go. I ain't that much of a hard ass on this. Donald Sterling, yeah, that was legit. That was legit. You own a basketball team. You talking about you don't want black people at the game. Yeah, okay. I get that. I get that. He had to go. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. But this ain't that. But to go back to that's the point I was trying to make. They try to inception us with everything so far over to in the realm of political correctness to where nothing can be said. Nothing can even be said 10 years ago. And sometimes when something is dug up from 10, 20 years ago, I think it would be more effective to use that as an opportunity to have a discussion about how culture has progressed on to where a comment that was okay back then is not okay now. A picture that was okay 30 years ago is not okay now. I think good conversations could be had about that, but just digging it up just to fire somebody for what they was, 20 years ago, that's just crazy. That's crazy to me. But all right, playing this and getting on to the next one.
For solutions, but I think the answer to that question probably comes from somewhere inside that locker room in that Las Vegas.
Are they still following?
In my opinion, that's him thinking that this isn't a big deal, but doesn't want to say it, so he just put it vaguely. It's like he's answering the question without answering it.
I mean, that's a big question. You have the slogan of Al Davis talking about, just win, baby. Today in Las Vegas, the slogan is must win, baby. So to be able to really see how this team responds coming off.
All right, they're about to transition back into the football discussion. All right, let me get to the main course, but it's sort of leads into it. That discussion there kind of leads right into it. Where we at though? We got, here we go. Now this was a good discussion here. It's a few topics that they trespassed on. It's like they tiptoed around talking about Tommy Sotomayor because Kwame Brown's show has turned into all about Tommy. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate because I called it from the start. I was saying to myself, he need to ignore Tommy Sotomayor. He really do need to ignore Tommy Sotomayor. He refused to ignore Tommy Sotomayor, and Tommy Sotomayor got exactly, and I mean exactly, what he wanted. Tommy Sotomayor got exactly what he wanted. He got Kwame Brown to get into a nonstop back and forth fight with him. That's what he wanted. Huh. I'm being alerted to check my email. This is like a state of emergency. Okay. Okay, this is kind of a big deal. Will do. And I don't like to play things that I have not seen. But for this one, I will make an exception. We're going to stop the show for a second. How do we do that? That's not going to get it. That's not going to get it. Give me 1 second, good folks. It's somewhat. Oh wait, no, I think I have seen this. I don't know if this is a different one, but either way, we rolling the footage either way. We're rolling the footage either way. Stand by, good people. Stand by. I think this. I didn't know if this was a different one, but either way it go, the footage is being rolled. Hold up. If I'm going to do it right. I got to move that off the screen. Got to move that off the screen. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. Going to do it right. All right. This is an ad for the Manosphere meetup. I believe this is no, I think this is one that I've seen. But either way, I thought this was a new one. But either way it go, we're gonna roll it either way. A word from our sponsor, so to speak. All right. I like it. I will be there. Obsidian will be there. Little Big Nate will be there. Will you be there? Will you be there? The sound was low on that. See, I'm messing up. I'll get better at that. It was spontaneous. It was things happen on the fly. Not going to be perfect, but I'll get better at that. I'll actually load the file into StreamYard so I can just click on it exactly like I do when I play any other clip,
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
So when I load it into StreamYard, it'll play just like that clip that I just played right there. So give me some time. I should have had that ready to go. But shout out to Obsidian for sending me that like that. Shout out to somebody else I saw in there. Actually, I saw JB before I saw Obsidian. I was talking about I need to check my email. He said I thought I was worse with the texting and emails, but man, Bernard takes the cake. No, get out of there. All right, let's get ready to go. Let's get into the main course here. Let's get into the main course here. Hit the like button. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. Now, one thing I did do in preparation while listening, I time-stamped certain areas. So it's good that I got that already. Game, set, and match ready to go. There's a few things that they talk about. Some more important than others, but we just going in order. Here we go.
Peace out, leave.
Now y'all know what happened the last time when I didn't pay for the YouTube Premium and the ads popped up that outed me. Hopefully I don't get outed today because there's going to be ads playing during this Jason Whitlock video.
Home just to change my phone plan. Hello, switching from my sofa. Goodbye, everything you can. Hello, Google Fi phone plan that can.
$453,000.
They won't let me skip. Okay, here now I can skip
days.
after this.
Without Amazon, shop.
What do you want?
All right, here we go. I got outed the last time those ads popped up on me. They played something that I didn't approve of. I don't like how that's playing. That ain't playing right. All right, let's roll. There it is. It's looking how I need it to look. All right.
But your viewers, your audience to glean from Kwame Brown.
I want Black folks to stop negotiating from their neighborhoods and where they're from and all their shortcomings. They make us look at our position as it's just an opportunity of a lifetime. We're doing you a favor. No, look at the numbers of how many of us Blacks are in the sports world. We are dominating the sports world. We're dominating a lot of different spaces. We're just not owning anything. So I believe Master P and his sons could start a domino effect. And shout out to the Millers. They're going to force people to go down and watch this young kid play. they're gonna right away. Cash is gonna be going to this HBCUs and sponsorships, and that's what more and more of these top athletes need to do. They need to take some of that power back by going to some of these black schools, so you don't have to beg for money. They'll get the big deals. They'll get the network deals because there's no choice. We're coming to see the talent, and that will swing our negotiating position a little bit better. So we're not talking about like Allen Iverson. I always talk about.
Now, a few things worth pointed out there. Yeah, for those that don't know that, yeah, Master P, his son, Master P's real name Percy Miller. His son is Mercy Miller, is a top-ranked basketball player. I think #1 in the nation in his grade. So at some point in the future, I think he probably graduate 2024 or 23. I think 2024. So it's some time down the road before he actually graduates. But he's #1 ranked in his grade, and he's committed to go to an HBCU. I've been saying that for the longest. All these top athletes, yeah, they need to go to black colleges and just link up Avengers, assemble the Avengers and dominate, get all the big TV contracts, get all the get everything. And yeah, do that. Bring all that money to the black colleges. There's an article that I looked up when I was doing this show that 17% of black bachelor degrees come from HBCUs. All right. 17% of black bachelor's degrees come from HBCUs. Now, black people ain't necessarily knocking it out the park academically, but the one thing that we good at is for damn sure sports. For damn sure sports. And we should be using the things that we're the best at to enrich our stuff, so to speak. Our stuff, using air quotes and stuff. Yeah. Like that just makes sense. That it should be just an unspoken thing. They should be going to HBCUs. Well, the HBCUs, the teams are not as blah, 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 and the school is not blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but by y'all going there, y'all can make it whatever it is that y'all saying that it's not. Y'all can make it that. Y'all can make everybody come there to eat out of the hand. So it's like, dang. So that is a good point, and I'm glad Master P got his son on that type of stuff. Now, I do want to point out, because Jason Whitlock, who's very conservative, I mean, he agrees with this statement, with the statements I just made. Very conservative. The conservatives get called the coons, though, right? The conservatives get called the coons, but it's always I see more black conservatives who would make a statement like that. A statement like what Kwame Brown just made. I wouldn't label him conservative, but Jason Whitlock got him on his show, and they're speaking about that. So, it's worth pointing out that the people who do have the more conservative mindset, they do look at things. They do look at black advancement, but not black advancement coming by way of getting the government to hand something out. What decisions can we make? What things can we do? How can we, using our own skill, talent, wit, how can we improve a situation? How can we leverage something? That's one of the good things about what Kwame Brown it talks about. If you're talking about leveraging our skill and our talent that's going to overall benefit black people, then yes, you're talking about a good thing. It's one thing to complain about, the decrease in funding for HBCUs, and this is a travesty, and this is no. It's black athletes that got the most God-given or science-given talent on earth. They go to HBCUs, and that solves that problem like that. I'm about problems getting solved from within. I'm about problems from getting solved from within. Like the quote, it starts at home. Yes, that's true across the board with a lot of different things.
Then you don't need as much money.
So some people are critical of, the tenor of your show. It's a bit more raw than what we're seeing from Kwame now. I watch your show and see the rawness, but I go, there's no way this dude isn't really smart, because
that rawness is laced with an intellect and a common sense that could only come from a really intelligent person who, if he can go down to the street corner and talk to the boys in the hood, and if he went and had to go talk to Barack Obama or Donald Trump, he'd know how to handle that conversation as well. What do you say to the people that, like, your show is too raw, it's too profane, and there's too much beef with your show?
All right. That was the portion of the interview where, talk about Tommy Sotomayor without talking about Tommy Sotomayor. That's what that was. Just in case you didn't catch that, just in case you didn't understand that. And Jason Whitlock is treading carefully, but he's right in asking that question. Because there was a moment when Kwame Brown, he was going at people, but it didn't seem like beef. It didn't seem like just petty beef when he was going at Stephen A. Smith, Stephen Jackson, and Matt Barnes. It didn't seem like just outright just beef. It didn't seem like, just to put it bluntly, it didn't seem like nigga shit at that time. It didn't seem like it. Going at Charlemagne, it didn't seem like it. He was going after black people nonetheless, but black people that work for the machine, as he said. Black people like Charlemagne the God got a show on Comedy Central right now. He getting his Trevor Noah on a little bit. Basically black people that work for the system, work for the machine, and they can't say things that need to be said because they gotta filter it. Even though I kind of disagree with that statement, because they don't say things that I think will benefit black people, but they with the whole black liberal agenda, and part of the black liberal agenda is call out white men or white conservatives on everything, or white men in general on everything. That sort of trespasses on the conversation that Little Big Nate was having on his show very recently, where I hated that. Well, he had it on his show on my show. It's almost like we did like something de facto Bernard Riley, like the Bernard Riley network. I got other people to come on and do shows on my platform. I actually think that's pretty cool. But anyway, that's not a thing that's in the works. But I do like the idea. I do like the idea of somebody coming and embracing the stage over here. I do like that. I do like to share like that. But either way, I didn't like the title of it. The Little Big Nate was talking about, the title kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but I saw where he was going with it when he asked the simple question, are white men being oppressed in this country? And he even admitted that he didn't like the word oppressed, but he thinks some white men are being targeted. And so that was a good conversation that was had there. And so when it comes to the liberals, the black liberals and the liberals in general, yes, what they do, they call out those are the ones that try to find racism under every rock. Those are the ones that make somebody like John Gruden get fired for what I thought was nothing. No, John Gruden isn't being oppressed, but John Gruden is somebody who falls in that category of, he say any little thing, that whole liberal powerhouse, they're going to come at him. And there's a lot of black people who are a part of that. So it's not necessarily that they're just saying things that they're not supposed to say that they can't say. If they're not saying things that are necessarily beneficial to black people, they're saying things that perpetuate the victim narrative that a lot of black people like to run with. And they're also saying, but they are saying things that will ultimately the things that they do, the things that they talk about, ultimately contribute to a white person getting fired for making a comment 10 years ago about a black person. So it goes back to what I was saying, is like, it's a de facto way of having power, but it's like almost like a topping from the bottom type of thing. It's like weakness. It's like weakness, Randy Moss getting up there crying, but you could argue that it's showing that it's the power to move, that if a white person say something 10 years ago about a black person, they can get fired. Black people don't get fired for saying something 10 years ago about a white person. Or black people, we no doubt got our things that socially, publicly, we can and can't do. And so I'm not trying to compare it like that, but I do want to point out that the liberals that he speak of, or the people in the media that's part of this go along, get along gang type of thing, I kind of disagree with him that they do say outright. They say outrageous stuff just swinging the other way. So I don't necessarily agree with the premise on that. I just can say I disagree with the analysis of those people. But I don't think they're necessarily going along to get along, because part of the go along, get along, what they do, that whole liberal media aspect of it, is they go after essentially white conservatives. And they treat black conservatives like coons. Like they're like, so it's a going against the grain that's happening. But I don't know if it's people that are scared to say something. I don't know if that's accurate. I just think it's more accurate to say I disagree with their analysis. I think that's probably the more accurate way to describe it. But as far as the beef thing, as far as the beef aspect of this, I do want to make sure I get into that, because when Kwame Brown was going after the people that are a part of the machine, I did a stream a while back called Attack the System, or no, Attack the Machine, Not Each Other. I was referring to how Kwame Brown at that time, he wouldn't beef with an independent black man who was working for himself in this whole media game. He would only go after the ones who, as he would say, are funded by white people. That's who he would go after. So I was like, that kind of makes sense. He attacking people that's a part of the machine. But when he started beefing with other YouTubers, and some of them even smaller YouTubers, and then the ongoing thing he got going on with Tommy Sotomayor, is like, to me, that kind of damaged it. So, and I don't know if that can get in the category of things just being raw and gritty. That's more of a situation where I personally think he should have stayed away from that. He definitely should have stayed 100% away from that, going back and forth with Tommy Sotomayor. He should have addressed it. But then when Tommy Sotomayor make a clapback video, response, at some point you gotta, as Tupac said, well, okay, I know Eminem took something that Tupac said and worded it different. Bomb first, then ignore the replies. Just drop your bomb and then ignore the response. Ignore the replies. Tupac had a song called Bomb First, but so I think Eminem's line was a play on that. But anyway, I think he could have effectively kept the we the people and going after the machine. And even if he defined it as that liberal machine, but that liberal machine, like I said, they go in a certain direction different from the way that he would go. So that's what he's fighting against. Or he's just fighting against people that aren't saying what need to be said, and he believes that they're not saying what need to be said because they're funded by that machine. If his attack would have been there, he would have kept that we the people tag, and he's the people's champ. He's fighting for the people. But when he just started beefing with other YouTubers, that's when it kind of went downhill. In my opinion.
I would ask them, where have they been under a rock for the last 40 years? Because my show represents reality and what you see outside. Most of the things I say is things that I either lived through or experienced or I actually see. When I quote a rap song, they don't like me using the N word, but then when I quote the lyrics of this rap song, it says sexy little B, sexy little H, let an N word play in your throat babies, I'm trying to bust all on you. Now, here I am, a man with 4 daughters, so it's like, you're talking about the way that I speak, but listen to our music. Listen to who gets paid for what they're saying. I kill an N-word here, I kill an N-word there, they get the most money. So, don't try to censor certain people, but if you give them the label of a rapper and you get money off of them, then it's free game for them to say whatever. So I just don't get it.
Well, I didn't necessarily care for that very, very last part about what he said. Don't try to censor certain people, but then if somebody's a rapper and you get paid off of them, see, he did the thing that I don't like. He lumped every white person together. That's okay. He de facto he essentially made a bad argument in my opinion. He didn't lump every white person together. He lumped everybody who criticizes him as categorically somebody who doesn't criticize rap and makes money off of rappers saying what they saying. It's like that. Sometimes you do that, and that reeks of that. That reeks of a narrative, and Kwame Brown has his own narrative that he tries to sell. Everybody does. Like, this ain't about me coming at him, but I didn't necessarily like that statement. There's a general point that was being made that I could rock with.
Conversation as well. What
Listen to who gets paid for what they're saying. I kill an N-word here, I kill an N-word there. They get the most money. So, don't try to censor certain people, but if you give them the label of a rapper and you get money off of them, then it's free game for them to say whatever. So I just don't get it.
Well,
we got Lil Nas X. They'll send him to schools to make our kids like him, but then next thing you know, he's naked in a rap video sliding down to the devil's you know what, and he'll be the third video up under baby videos. And so, but I'm the bad guy for pointing it out, or because I use profanity.
Do you want appointment setters to fill your sales calendars for you with qualified prospects? My company can place you with proven.
See, I like the commercials that they're playing right now. They're playing like business commercials. That shows that I do research a lot of stuff on business, how to get, use online search engines to get customers and blah, blah, blah. I like that they're showing that. When I was sitting here doing this show with Game Changer and they played that LatinLoveSolutions.com, a commercial talking about some, are you in search for Latin love? I was like, whoa, don't play me like that. Don't make it seem like I've been Googling that all day. I was so mad at the algorithm that day. They played me so bad. But I like the stream of commercials I'm getting right now.
Well, what I think you have tapped into, and it's why I'm such a big supporter, is like, if we're going to reach certain audiences and certain people, we have to engage them on a level that they understand and are attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we engage them, then we can expose them to a higher level of thinking, logic, a more strategic way of going about life. I think you're actually being very strategic. It's not something I can pull off.
Again, I keep stumbling into that. After me and Obsidian had a conversation, well, we've had multiple conversations about that on my show, that there's a certain way to draw people in, and then a certain way to keep them entertained. But while they're there, they're going to hear different ideas. They're going to hear different type of they're going to hear some logic, some better reasoning, some better thinking, some better information. They're going to get that information, and they're going to be entertained by the negacity sometimes. So so that's something that everybody do, and even Jason Whitlock to some degree is saying that. And it cracked me up when the Young Turks admitted to doing the same thing, that there's a certain level of entertainment value that you must deliver on before you can even get to the point of giving people the information that actually feeds them. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing there. But Too Cool for School in the building. He says, "Are you going to cover the Glendon Cameron scandal?" I actually did on members only. I did it. It's a members only video of where I talked about that. I may in the future. I was brainstorming, plotting on doing a show. It wasn't necessarily about him, but it will be de facto about him. I was going to do a show titled "Where Should the Age of Consent Be?" That was going to be the title of the show. Where should the age of consent be? So I might do that one in the future, but if you want to listen to my Glendon Cameron response, like I've touched on it, like something like that. And okay, let me explain it like this. There are certain things, like I don't mind clout chasing, to use that term, even though I don't think nothing is wrong with it if you do it right. I don't really mind doing it, because if somebody is, I'm using clout chasing very loosely. If somebody is a big trending story, yes, you should do content on it as a content creator, and you grow your channel that way because everybody who's going to hear that trending story, they come to your channel. People who you getting the algorithm. People who don't know you click on your video, and then they may subscribe, and you grow your channel that way. But when it comes to something like that, I'm like, I'm not going to use that to try to grow. I don't know. I guess I just got some little moral compass all of a sudden to where I'm not going to clout chase on something like that. But let's just say like when Kevin Samuels had that, when he had that back and forth with Kendra G, I seized that opportunity and got in a quick response video to that, and it went viral. And then me and Obsidian did a follow-up live stream to that, and that even went viral. One of them got like 57,000 views, the other one got like 32,000 views right now. I grew my channel in leaps and bounds. So you do got to pounce on stuff like that when something is, but it's something like that where some dude basically laid out what essentially was the Predator manual. I was like, I ain't touching on this. But I did eventually touch on it in members only. But yeah, I left that alone. However, I have commented on it throughout the course of my 3 and 4 hour live streams. When it came up, I did comment on it and give my thoughts on it. But as far as name and face and the thumbnail and the whole works, and no, I decided to leave that alone. I wasn't giving it no run. But shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat. It is members. I did touch on it on the members only portion, so some people heard it. But shout out to you.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
Yeah, he said that glimmering camera stuff was insane. It made me uncomfortable just listening to it. Yeah, that was. Don't make me get into it. Listen, like I may do a whole stream on this. It's one thing if somebody just say, okay, the legal age of consent in the state that I live in, the state of Michigan. I'm not messing with no 16-year-old, but the legal age of consent in the state of Michigan is 16. I'm not messing with no 16-year-old, but the legal age of consent in Michigan is 16. So if somebody said that, yes, I had sex within the legal, I had legal sex in my country, in my state with a 16-year-old, I'm not gonna break out the pitchforks for that. I'm not. She was a willing. I was 21 and she was a willing 16-year-old. I'm not breaking out pitchforks for that. But if you sit there and lay out the damn manual, yeah. Now if you just look at her pictures and you see that she got a good relationship with her parents, and it's like, and then see, you don't want to do that. You want to get the ones that if it look like they don't got a good relationship with their parents or their father not in their life, and those are the ones where you're less likely to get that knock on the door from the police. I'm like, it's like, man, that was that's the insane part. That right there did it for me. That part right there did it for me more than anything in the whole thing. Like, man, like, listen. That was what did it. That was what did it. That's what made it indefensible. That right there. That alone. That alone. I didn't hear nothing else. Well, shut up before I get to Kenneth Williams. Shout out to lead attorney. He said it's not clout chasing. No, I call everything clout chasing. It's all about that. You got to cover the trending topics. So if people want, I call it clout chasing just as a way of owning it, because I want to normalize it. One of my favorite YouTubers, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, grew his channel off covering whatever was trending. He just reacted to it. By that definition, he clout chased whatever was trending, whether it was some viral video or some viral celebrity nonsense. He's essentially clout chasing. By that definition, O'Shea is clout chasing. So by the definition of clout chasing, I don't think nothing is wrong with clout chasing, but it's just when it comes to something that I think is horrible, I just decided that I'm not about to. I leave. So I left that alone. I just left that one alone. But no, I'm not opposed to clout chasing. Don't get that twisted. Shoot, I'm about to I'm about to clout chase off lead attorney and have with an upcoming stream pretty soon. I got another one coming. So so yeah, I got don't know, nothing wrong with clout chase. I grew my channel. Well, I didn't grow my channel. My channel was at like 4,500 subs, and it leaped to 7,000 in almost like a month. Just took a huge leap, and just like that, just off covering some Kevin Samuels videos when Kevin Samuels was blowing up. I mean, he's still blown up, but when he was, so yeah, I got no qualms against clout chasing, as they call it. We're supposed to. Now, there's a good way to do it and a bad way to do it. If you don't have no content and you're just using that person's name and just talking junk, then no. But if you do, like Lee Turner, you do the best clout chasing, if anything, because he will use, like, for example, the Fresh and Fit situation. He used that situation as an opportunity to talk to men about what happens legally after you get a woman pregnant and the whole child support thing. That's good clout chasing. You got information and you're just using the celebrity situation or the trending situation as the opportunity. That's good clout chasing. So I'm not opposed to good clout chasing. So I'm all for it. It's clout chasing is not an insult. I don't like when people I own it when it comes to the clout chasing. You're supposed to do it. Kenneth Williams in the building with the $5 super chat. All right. Where we at? Oh man, go on, get out of there, little big Nate. Get on up out of there. But no, I will always cover the trending topics. But it was just some disgusting elements of that where I was just like, I ain't going. Or I just was like, I'm not going. I'll leave that. I just left that one alone. But I do want to do a show on just titled, setting Glendon Cameron aside. I am going to do a show titled, "What Should the Age of Consent Be?" Right, lead attorney. You can, but you was already on the way up. But that Fresh and Fit definitely gave you a bump. And that's how it is. So that's how it is. You got to ride it out. I remember I told you that before. If you like, yeah, this was back when you had caught fire with that that Charlemagne is what got you going. And yeah, you was on that, and me and you, we was talking. I was like, man, ride that out. Keep drinking at that well till you can't no more. Ride that until the next big celebrity issue happen that you can put a legal to break down the legal ramifications of it. Ride that home. Like, yeah, you definitely doing your thing. I called as soon as I saw your channel back when you probably had less subs than me. I called it. You on your way to 100K. So yeah, you definitely killing the game. Shout out to the lead attorney. Shout out to the lead attorney. All right, let's get back into this.
I can occasionally do it, but it's not something I can pull off. It's not the lane for me, but I see you create.
Speaking of that, lead attorney is another good example. You see how you can't just speak directly to things. You got to figure out a way to wrap it in entertainment. I don't know, maybe it's just something about the Negro. He has to be entertained. But that's what they're talking about now, wrapping good information within the entertainment, within the language that people speak. The attorney does a good job at that, but that's what they're talking about here. It's like everybody has to do that. But it could get ridiculous in the case of Kwame Brown. I think even though he's still doing great and doing great numbers and he's killing it, you can I mean, he's doing well. He's doing well. I mean, there's ways to go look online and see exactly how well he's doing, but needless to say, he's doing well. And so it won't be a situation where these conversations are not wrapped in entertainment. It's unlikely that will be the case. It has to be entertaining. But I think he pushed it too far and even hurt his channel when it just turned into just a pissing match between him and Tommy. That's just my opinion on that. It lost some of the fire. He just became it made him look like just another YouTuber out here talking shit. But anyway,
creating an audience that eventually is like, okay, like Kwame, love what he's doing, but let me sample what Jason Whitlock does or what Boyce Watkins does. I see you opening doors for other people by getting down, getting your hands dirty, and talking to people on the level that they understand.
Right, and then that's the thing they don't get. Even I have a white gentleman, blessed beyond belief, on YouTube. He follows my channel, and he's a Christian. He don't like the cursing at all, but he understands the bigger message. So what he does is he dissect what I'm saying, and he'll explain it to his audience in the way that they can receive it. And so that's what we all should do. On YouTube, a lot of these guys, they want to be known as the best thinker, the best everything. I realize I have a ceiling in how far
he was talking about Tommy right there, I think.
I can go and how far I can communicate with people. So if you like Jason Whitlock and how witty he is and the way he break it down, let me come over to Jason Whitlock's page, have a conversation with him. Don't bring all the cursing, and let's have a conversation. And then now you can go take it to your audience and break it down the way that they understand it. And a lot of people don't do that, which
All right, that was it on that part. Now, the last part that I want to talk about is the Stephen A thing. The whole Stephen A thing. He asked him about that, and we're gonna go from there. And then
I'm a man.
Then we're gonna open this bad boy up. 172 people in the building. I haven't looked at the likes. I don't know where we're at on the likes. No idea. 99 on the likes. Let's get that up to 125 right now.
Yeah, so I'm not going to speak to you in a way, because as a man, I got to put myself.
These doodly videos are better than any of the other videos I've ever made. And they took me like a quarter of the time to make them. It's almost like
myself out there. And
another business ad, by the way. That was from Doodly. Something I've been researching. How to make edited videos and whatnot and everything. Anyway, shout out to the notorious ARC in the building. ARC been going live on his channel. Definitely make sure y'all go over there and check out ARC's live streams. It's one thing I heard him say on there that he said somebody else told him, and I meant to tell him this one day, that his format, the way that he do his regular videos, they're more suitable for live stream, just with it's not a joke or a jab, but the long-winded nature of ARC. You might as well have, be long-winded and interactive with your folks. Because yeah, people throw out questions and then he asks and break it down and then circle back to his main point. And he has a very conversational style that's more suitable for live stream anyway. But I do think, now I know I'm not even going to make a prediction on this, but no, I told him I think he's going to take over the live stream. I told him I think he's going to take over the live streaming game. I honestly believe that, but I'm not going to say why. I'll tell him behind the scenes why I think he's going to end up taking it over, because it's an idea that I got that I don't know if he would want me to say that on the air. Well, you sent me an email and you was thanking me for the encouragement, but I'll respond to that one. I got something I want to throw out to you, ARC. But shout out to ARC. He definitely doing his thing over there, live streaming. He should have been doing it. Live streaming is where it's at. So shout out to ARC.
I can win or I can lose, but that's what keeps me that level of respect for another man. That fear of losing and that knowing, that conscious fact that I can lose. So I'm not out here walking around like I'm some protected chick because I got 5 or 6 dudes that may or may not have guns. I'm by myself.
All right, let's move on to Stephen A. Smith. Where do things stand there between you and Stephen A. Smith?
Oh, I got about another 20 years to deal with Stephen A. Smith. I mean, I think Steve.
I respect that. I absolutely 100% respect that what Kwame said right there. And that's real. Because Stephen A. Smith beat up on him for essentially 20 years. Even after he retired, he was still taking jabs at Kwame Brown. So now that Kwame Brown got a media platform, I would just, instead of constantly going at going back and forth with Tommy, I would just sit there and just listen to what Stephen A. Smith say, and then just heckle the hell out of Stephen A. Smith like Stephen A. Smith heckled him. That's how you do it. That's how you punch up. That's how you punch up at that machine. Quit slap boxing around with Tommy. I would be on Stephen A. Smith's ass nonstop. Payback.
I think he's a coward. I can't stand what he represents. He represents a male that's ignorant to the fact that, yes, you make money, but you're making money off of the backs of your own people. If he literally was not that animated, if he just talked analytics and he did not put players down the way that he does and say things like trade them for a box of cereal.
Wait a minute. See, and then this is like him and Jason Whitlock, they just talked about rapping getting entertainment. That's Stephen A. Smith's way of rapping it in entertainment. You're supposed to be critical of basketball players if you give basketball analysis and commentary. You're supposed to be critical. He's not beating down his people. He's criticizing basketball. Like, so that part I've always had some disagreement on Kwame Brown on. But far as what Stephen A. Smith did to him, it was a little obsessive. It was like how Shaquille O'Neal used to come at JaVale McGee, and JaVale McGee was like, you made me the laugh and stock to butter all these jokes. You affecting my bottom line. It's JaVale McGee had a point. But at the end of the day, Shaquille O'Neal became a commentator, and commentators got to be entertaining. And if you happen to be the thing that he's able to that inspires his entertainment, then hey, it is what it is. But here you are, you have a media platform to clap back. So I wouldn't complain about it. I would just lay in the cut and just sit back and wait for him to say something stupid and then highlight it. Yeah, I would be his heckler. I would be to him what Skip Bayless is to LeBron James. And that's sort of what he was. That's what Kwame Brown was doing when he first got going. When he first really got going and got the ball rolling on this, that's essentially what he was doing. That's how he was doing it. And then it sort of veered off from there. It veered off from there because he, like I said, he got too caught up in petty YouTube beef. Beefing with Hassan Campbell, beefing with Tommy, beefing with this, beefing with that. It's like, no, you should be punching up at that machine. That's how you got the "We the People," tagline and all of that. Punch up at the machine.
And get all loud like that, he wouldn't be as effective, and he would no longer be needed. He's a guy who can say things that other people can't say, and they pay him to do that. In my opinion, he says things that white people wish they could say to black people, and he says it in a way that he gets a pass because.
No, that's what Jason Whitlock do, homie. The person you're talking to do that. You're gonna see it in Jason Whitlock's face.
I'm gonna say this. What my issue,
Jason Whitlock trying to pivot because I think he disagreed with what Kwame said right there.
With Stephen isn't that. I don't look. His job is to analyze and criticize. He's a critic, and so he's going to criticize the sports world. What I don't like. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why was he at colleges and high schools talking about a player 10 years after he was done playing?
I think he's talking about you.
Yes, I've yet to hear about him talking about any other player, white, black, or whomever else. It's just ironic to me that the first player drafted out of high school, number one, was a black man, and they sent a black man all the way down to high schools to tell them how bad of a guy, and then you don't want to be like that guy while he's making $4 million a year. I don't understand that.
So let me explain it to you. And again, it coincides with my point in terms of where my criticism of Stephen A. would come in. Look, you can't make the money that Stephen A. is making without climbing into bed with the NBA and Disney and the establishment. And so my problem with Stephen A. would be twofold. Is he's playing a character that's, I'm this outspoken, I'll say anything, I got no puppet strings attached to me, you just getting what I think. And no, you're not. You're getting what David Stern thinks and or thought, because in order to be that involved with the NBA, get the access, have a chance to be on the NBA Countdown show, which I think they're giving him now. You have to be a voice for the establishment and the power. And so he's not speaking any truth to power. He's punching down is what you're basically saying. And again, it's like, oh, you want to punch Kwame Brown? I never see you punch David Stern. And so if I saw you punching David Stern, if I saw you punching Michael Jordan, then I would perhaps be like, okay, you want to throw a punch at me? I get it. You're an equal opportunity punch thrower. But what you're saying is he's not. He punches down at the targets that he's directed to punch at by the NBA, by the people at Disney and ESPN. And so therefore, you have a justifiable problem with him. I get it. The other part of my problem,
I like what Jason Whitlock laid out right there, at least how he laid it out. He laid out the point a lot better than Kwame Brown did, in my opinion. But that's what Jason Whitlock do. Now, see, here's the thing with Stephen A. Smith, and this is where this criticism of Stephen A. Smith comes in. Stephen A. Smith tweeted something, and shout out to Ramil, because Ramil did some content on this. Stephen A. Smith tweeted that my job is to wake up every morning, or nothing makes me happier than waking up every morning, or something like my job is to wake up every morning and figure out a way how to make my bosses more money and how I can get a piece of it. Like, that is like the most cringiest statement ever. That's worse than that Randy Moss crying that we looked at earlier. That's worse than that Randy Moss crying, that statement right there. My job is to wake up every morning and figure out how I can make my bosses money and how I can get a piece of it. Where it should be your job at this point, with you having that big of a name that you've built, your job should be to wake up and how to make you some money, and you should be the boss that other people want to make a little bit of money off of because they're working for. But understand, I mean, look, okay, he's getting paid millions of dollars to talk junk on ESPN, and he's good at what he do. But that mindset is ridiculous. He's in position to where, okay, go ahead and collect that money with ESPN, but you shouldn't be just triumphantly I just love making my boss. I love making massive money. It's like that. That's what it sounds like. It's just weird. It's a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing for a really successful multimillionaire black man to say. It just blows me away. Blows me away that he would say that. So to some degree, I do understand what they're getting at with Stephen A. Even though, like I said, it's fair game. Stephen A. can criticize Kwame, but a good point was made by Jason Whitlock. It's certain people you never hear him criticize. You never punch up at the machine. Again, attack the machine, not each other. So they make a fair point that Stephen A. punches down. Stephen A. punches down at the little guy because it's certain people high up that he know that he's just not going to criticize. I didn't even realize I was an hour and a half into this. The link is in the chat. We've covered a number of different things. A lot of different flashpoints that was brought up in this discussion at any point. Anything that was discovered at any point in this stream that you want to comment on, the floor is open for your words and your thoughts. But I'll finish up the last little portion of this.
problem with him, and then I'd like for you to follow in and expound, is the self-importance and the unwillingness to admit when you're wrong. And again, we've had a conversation here today that I'm about to admit and say something that I did not intend to say. But you've brought me to a point of enlightenment in this conversation where I'm gonna say, you know what? I shouldn't have called Randy Moss Randy with an I in my column. I took a shot that was probably everything else I've said about Randy Moss this week, I'm 1,000% on board with. Shouldn't have done that to the dude's name. I was wrong for that. Randy, I apologize. I may issue, away from this show, I may issue another apology over social media or whatever and say, you know, that's probably too far. That was too personal. Shouldn't have done it. But what I never see from Stephen A. Smith and a lot of these self-important people in the media, because they're so deluded by the amount of money they make, and how could they be wrong? I make $12 million a year and everybody loves me and blah, 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 blah. How could I be? You pointed out some things about what went on with you in the Washington Wizards, and Stephen A. Smith, instead of acknowledging, like, man, Jordan is the power, and he created a narrative about Kwame Brown that was perhaps a bit unfair. You know what? Let me back off my criticism of Kwame and say, you know what? I was wrong. Let me admit in this instance, I was perhaps wrong, and there's some justification of what Kwame's doing. And that's why when the man went back at you and put together that 6-7 minute tape, whatever, on ESPN, again, punching down. I never seen punch at Adam Silver. I never seen punch at the power structure. He done put together a 6-7 minute tape on a man that you know, like, my God, you've been proven wrong. Just admit it. Then I would have some respect for you. That there's no accountability for himself, and then he's pretending to be strong when really his criticism is weak. That's my issue with Stephen A. Smith.
I mean, Stephen A., I mean, like you said, he's just a character. And he can't get off that character because
fair use.
The only reason why people listen to him is because he seems so strong. And plus, they have advertising dollars behind him. Even now, you know, every time I get off of YouTube, when I go to scroll through a video, if I miss and touch my phone any kind of way, it'll either go to First Take or the Breakfast Club. So
mine does that. It automatically goes to the Breakfast Club. After every video I watch, the next video that comes on is the Breakfast Club. Got to be some advertisement dollars behind that, but that's playing the game right. Advertisement dollars. We are joined by the notorious ARC in the building. What's going on?
What's up, Bernard? Good morning on this Saturday.
Morning.
I tuned in late. I didn't see it right from the beginning, but I've been keeping up with this. Well, first, on a note that's not directly related to the main topic, I heard you talking about clout chasing, and there's nothing illegal or even unethical about clout chasing.
Right.
I mean, most factions of mainstream media, including like all the network news, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, they all clout chase, if you want to call it that, a trending story about someone who's a prominent figure in the general public. So for that to be done on here on YouTube is no big deal. I mean, I think it goes without saying, I know you go chuckle when I say, for me, I have more of a problem with blatant, rampant verbal plagiarism here on YouTube than I do what's known as clout chasing.
Right.
There's European countries. I mentioned this on my channel before. There was an article came out a couple years ago. There was some European countries that wanted YouTube banned in their respective countries because of rampant verbal plagiarism. But yeah, clout chasing, that's no big deal. I mean, like you said it yourself. If a story is trending about, let's say, like the whole good example, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett, the whole entanglement thing.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody can be legitimately get on your case about making a big deal out of that story on your YouTube channel and try to suggest you just trying to get views. I mean, that's a trending story. So that's no big deal. I'm glad you played that last part about now I'm switching back to your main topic about I didn't hear that until just you played it. I didn't hear Jason Whitlock make that apology about spelling Randy's name. If you're a sports fan, what does that take you back to? Bernard, I know you are. What does that somewhat remind you of?
I've been trying to place it. I can't, for some reason, I can't remember.
Roy Firestone, Jim Everett. Do you remember?
Was that Jim
Too
Rome?
young. Jim Rome used to have.
Oh, is that the, hold on? Is that the guy that Jim Rome?
And the quarterback, Jim Everett, he
yes,
would always criticize him and call him Chrissy Everett, trying to say he was a bitch-made quarterback. So he had Jim Everett on the show. And Jim Everett said he had the balls to call him Chrissy to his face. And Chris, I think that's what landed him on the show, because Jim Everett said, yeah, Jim Rome, you could say that while I'm not in front of you, but I guarantee you wouldn't be man enough to say that to my face. So Jim Rome, who didn't want to be faded, said, okay, come on to my show. And Jim Everett came on the show. He said, Chrissy. And then Jim Everett said, I dare you to say that again. He said, Chrissy. And Jim Everett punched him, and it turned into... So, I would hope that the whole, well, he just apologized, so it would never get to that level with Jason Whitlock. Yeah, Jason Whitlock, he's a Hoosier, man. He's an Indiana boy, and I've always had mixed feelings about him, man. He, like you alluded to, when it comes to going in on black athletes, he's just as bad, if not sometimes worse, than Stephen A. Smith.
Right. That was where like I could tell Jason Whitlock could tell that, okay, well, hold on. This is, if you're gonna criticize Stephen A for that, and you clearly don't listen to my show. That's what I can see it in Jason Whitlock's face. Like, hold on, Jason Whitlock is the worst at that, like by far.
Oh yeah, because I give you an example is that Stephen A. Smith, a lot of times he's a loud talking clown, but at least tries the vast majority of time to keep it to sports, evaluating what, how you perform on the court or on the field or whatever. Whereas Jason Whitlock, one of the first times he came into controversy, he called Allen Iverson basically like a street nigga. And he went after his ghetto, what he felt was his ghetto-ish type tendencies that had nothing to do with his performance on the court.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, okay, what the fuck is that about? Why are you passing judgment on his upbringing, his family background? The dude is a talented athlete. Yeah. And he's done that with some other black athletes.
That's where black conservative-minded men will go too far. Okay. Somebody can have a certain aesthetic or a certain background. You got to give a fair analysis of what are they doing right now. So if he was breaking down current nigga shit that AI was doing right now or at that moment, then it's hands off. But if you just want to say, I don't like the way he look and this is his background, therefore ignore one, how good he playing, and two, ignore that right now at the moment, it's nothing going on wrong with him. So that's where sometimes black conservatives can annoy the hell out of me. It's like, hold on, you're framing the argument the wrong way. I try to make sure I'm talking about current behavior that somebody is engaging in. So yeah, so Jason Whitlock has been wrong about that one in the past. So yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, now I love Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Definitely love, him as an athlete and what he brought to the game of football. Now, I would feel semi like a hypocrite because as you probably know, Bernard, I broke down when O'Shea was interviewing me one time, and I'm sure a lot of people were like, damn, why is ARC getting all emotional over Bill Cosby? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. The thing I couldn't tell if that was genuine emotion overwhelming him or it was a producer provoked thing with the whole John Gruden. Now, I'll be honest, I've never been that big of a fan of John Gruden because I felt like, to be truthful, he took advantage of a team that Tony Dungy put together and was the architect of, and he just was able to get a Super Bowl championship based on all the hard work that Tony Dungy put into creating that team. So, but I mean, we get into in this space, of course, Me Too movement is talked about and criticized for the way women can go back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years and beyond and bring up things that happened in the past. I mean, the John Gruden situation is really telling of the society we living in now, because on his end, his emails, I want to say, were not sent from a work, like a Raiders.com based email or some other work related email. It was from his Yahoo or Gmail account?
Yeah. I think that part is true. It was sent to, colleagues. So, but if that distinction should matter. If it was sent from a Raiders email, then it's non-negotiably 100% business. And then now they can make the argument that, hey, you're being unprofessional, or let me take that back. You were being unprofessional 10 years ago. But I thought at least they explained it like it was they explained it like it was a conversation amongst colleagues, put it like that. It was a conversation amongst colleagues that a certain level of professionalism was expected. They did frame it that way.
Yeah, see, that's it's just so interesting that they weren't even initially investigating John Gruden. They were investigating the Washington football team in their issue with objectifying cheerleaders and whatnot. And then John Gruden just kind of incidentally came into the mix, and now he done lost his job. But anyway, the crying. Now I didn't even know until I watched your clips. This shows I ain't been watching enough TV. I didn't know Ryan Clark broke down too.
Hold on.
Was that Ryan Clark, or am I getting the name wrong? Who's the other brother that broke down?
Hold on. I think I know you talking about. Wait a minute. Damn it. Do I not got it up? Hold on. Dang, I took it down when I was looking at something. Ryan Clark. Okay. Let me. I'm gonna pull something up and see if this is I don't know Ryan Clark by name right off the bat, but give me one quick second. Is this guy right here? I'm gonna pull him up. Hold up. Let me do a quick screen share, because I didn't know about this one either. James Kwame Brown. Yep, there it is. All right, is this Ryan Clark right here?
Yeah.
Or no? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I was going to circle back and play that, but I ended up dropping the link. Let's go and roll a little bit of that. Was he crying? I don't think he was crying about this exact issue. I think this may have been older.
Oh, okay. All right.
And like, we just got to keep, staying together, man, and just doing what we can.
Yeah. And for us to be moving back and not forward in 21st century, like I said, man, National Football League, this hurts me. The clock is ticking, man. I'm sorry.
I got balls enough for all these guys that have been
All right. That's all right. Go ahead, man. I don't know if Ryan Clark was crying about the same exact issue, but nonetheless, yeah, he's on there crying. But go ahead, give you what you got on that, man.
Man, I'm gonna try to give both brothers, man, the benefit of the doubt, man. But I'll just say this again: if somebody is genuinely overwhelmed with emotion for whatever reason, I'm not gonna come down hard on them. But when if it's the result of a producer whispering in there, okay, Randy, now we need you to cry. we need the dramatic effect. And then he does some kind of disingenuous crime. Because, I mean, like, again, in respect to myself, I can think of a handful of times that I got choked up talking about something and I didn't expect it. I don't know if you probably haven't experienced that, but now at least I haven't witnessed you do that. But yeah, like since I've been on YouTube, I can name at least 2 or 3 times that happened with me. Like I remember one time I was doing a YouTube video and I could have taken it out if I wanted to because it was a pre-recorded video. But I was talking about something, and then I brought up my relationship with my father, my late father. And about a minute into talking about my relationship with my father, I just unexpectedly began getting choked up. And I didn't go minutes and minutes of crying, but
yeah,
I definitely got choked up. And in my mind, I was like, dang, Alan, how did you allow yourself to break down like that? But I mean, I just started thinking about interactions I had with my father, man. And
I think that's understandable. I think grown ass successful black men crying on TV about some racism that happened 10 years ago that wasn't really racism. It was just more like a joke that was in poor taste. Like that. Why are they crying on TV about that? That's the part that's just blowing my mind. There's some times like there's times like I understand getting choked up in certain moments. I get it. I understand. It's about what they're getting choked up. Like I even understand the concept of getting emotionally wrapped up into a movie and then the character die or something, and then you feel a certain type of way. I mean, because I get it. It happens. It happens, but I'm just is them crying on TV talking about some borderline sort of racial, maybe racist comment that happened 10 years ago in an email. That's the part that oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh, I totally understand what you said. I totally understand. Because it wasn't, I guess why most people like yourself and a lot of guys, even possibly include myself, would have a problem with that. Because it's not like John Gruden attacked him.
Yeah.
You can halfway defend him if John Gruden said, I don't know, Randy Moss is a lazy ass nigger and he doesn't like to work. I mean,
yeah.
Then you could understand him saying, damn, this dude went after me. But nothing in that email had anything to do with Randy himself.
Or black people in general, really.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I mean, yeah, from what I read, I mean, it was one of them situations. And I think you've already alluded to this, is that, I mean, all of us, let's be real, like, you have like your back chat, your private chat here. I'm sure there's been some things said in this private chat that some people in the general public, if it was, made publicized and released, people are like, oh my God, that Bernard Riley was talking to this person in the back chat and some of his panelists, the things they were saying. I mean, it would be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't want to get caught slipping with a hot mic out here. Yeah. Yo, you're familiar with the term hot mic because you've been doing radio.
Oh yeah, I know hot mic. It's been a lot of controversy. One of the most controversial in that category was of course, Jesse Jackson Sr. was listening to
when he said something about cutting Barack balls off.
Barack Obama was admonishing black men for being like deadbeat dads and not being active in their children's life. And publicly, Jesse Jackson Sr. was applauding them. And then he didn't realize his mic was on. He said, man, I just want to cut his balls off talking all that shit. Then his own son had to like say, Dad, why would you say something like it? Was just embarrassing at that time for Jesse Jackson Sr. But hot mic show people's real side though. Like there's been newscasters that'll be like, okay, we'll be right back after this commercial. Then there might be on, they'd be like, what the fuck was that bullshit?
Yeah. I've seen that plenty of times. That'd be the funniest. I wish I could pull the video up fast enough. It was a very funny moment where a dude did that. His whole voice, posture, everything about him changed. He just morphed into a completely different person.
So anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say, man. Yeah, man, it's generally I still got love for Randy, but I can see why people poking fun at him. But yeah, the biggest thing though again was you pointing out that when Kwame Brown was going in on Stephen A. Smith, that Jason Whitlock definitely did a pivot, because I know he was thinking, this man, well, shit, I go after black athletes too. So
yeah,
I ain't gonna condemn Stephen A. Smith for that.
Yeah.
So with that,
yeah.
all right, brother, enjoy the rest. Oh, I sent you an email. Check it out when you get a chance. But
Okay, cool.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Lessons burned in the building. What's going on, man? What you got on the subject today?
What to do? You can hear me clear?
Oh yeah, you good.
All right, appreciate you having me up here. Salute to the chat. I like this topic, very nuanced topic. I'm gonna come out with a different angle though.
Okay.
One person I ain't heard anybody bring up is one Mr. Colin Kaepernick.
Okay.
And the point I'm bringing that up is that you didn't see none of this shit before he started doing the protests and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? So there was a lot of people on both sides saying, "Oh, Colin Kaepernick didn't have a mission," and then the other side of people were saying, "You know, Colin Kaepernick standing up for, you know, equality, this, that, and the third." But mostly the biggest change that I've seen is the way that players and, you know, organizations act amongst themselves, right? So, you know, this is nothing new. I think it was like 2 years ago when Champ Bailey got accepted in the Hall of Fame. He started crying in his Hall of Fame speech about that. You know, equality and, you know, stuff like that. Just like the Carolina Tar Heels head coach, you know, he broke down in tears because I'm not sure if he broke down in tears, but, you know, he was just saying he was so happy that we lived in a society we live now that he can have, you know what I mean, a white wife, which, you know, I'm not knocking, but at the same time, it's like incrementally you're seeing this stuff more and more and more. And it's crazy because, you know, Randy Moss, I mean, he was arguably one of the most disrespectful players to ever play. I love Randy Moss as a player. He was very exciting to watch, but, you know, his celebrations and, you know, things like that, like, he hasn't been the most upstanding model, right? But the fact of the matter is just, you know, we're just seeing this stuff more and more and more, and, you know, it's not by happenstance, in my opinion, but, you know, I'm not gonna go there, but that's just kind of crazy to me, though.
Well,
Like,
okay, when you say it's not by happenstance, I mean, I know you said you didn't want to go there, but let's kind of dig in right there.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can shift there. You know, I don't want to go too far, but
well, no, I understand where you're going though, because we're seeing more people. When you say we're seeing more people do, what are you saying we're seeing more of? You talking about like the people that's crying or making these racial?
We're seeing more people. Yeah, we're seeing more people. We're seeing more people be encouraged to show emotion, right? Just like one of the brothers commented, what's his name, Tur Battle, in the comment section, where, you know, if you look at these panels, anytime it's about like a domestic dispute, it's about some kind of equality, some racial, any kind of thing like that, the woman will be there moderating, kind of steering it in that emotional, you know what I mean, in that emotional avenue. So you know, they're being more provoked to.
That's one thing that I was remiss I didn't point out, that a lot of times on those shows you do have a woman asking the question, steering it in a certain direction. And shout out to can't even tell what their name is down there, but he said it's fake crying. But yeah, they trying to prompt them to cry without tears. But either way, because Randy Moss cried, I didn't see a single tear. But anyway, but this one thing that I want to do. I was going to do a show on this, but it ain't really worth the whole show. So I just comment. I'll just say it right now. The amount of women that's on ESPN, just going back to the whole Rachel Nichols thing, where she said they got a bad record on diversity, even though I see an even mixture of all the races on there. But for every, you know, 3 men, it seems like there's one woman. So hold on, dude. Whoa. Who got background noise? Somebody got background. I don't know if that's checkmate down there with the background noise. But I'm gonna mute you. Don't mute. Okay, you muted yourself. Good. Like on that show we were just watching, it was one woman, 3 men. Okay, no problem, no big deal. But see, here's the thing: if they're saying that the diversity of the sexes is bad, but you got to look at how many women actually want that job and actually qualified for that job versus how many men want that job and are qualified for it. Every ex-athlete wants that job. Like there's thousands upon thousands, and then people who were not athletes professionally wanting that job. Every man who has a sports journalism degree wants that job. Like it's probably 100 men who want that job for every one woman that wants that job. But if the representation is 3 men for every one woman, then that means women, mathematically speaking, have an unfair advantage when it comes to getting the job on one of those shows because there's so few of them that want it, but they're keeping the 1 out of 4 ratio going on. So it's like they have an unfair advantage. So it's like, again, that's why I didn't play the clip of him saying it. That's why Jason Whitlock be calling it ESPN, the E standing for Emasculated Sports Network. And it's something that they're doing, the direction that they're going. Where I'm not complaining about is women taking jobs from men. No, I'm just pointing out that the reach for diversity, it can reach too far sometimes. And we're seeing an example of that with the sports. When there's a show with all men on it, somebody eventually said, well, why are there no women on the show? Okay. If you look at it for every, and I don't have the exact numbers on this, I just know the demographics of people who either played professional sports or got a degree in sports journalism or is currently a sports writer. They all want that job on ESPN. I just know the ratio from men who want that job versus women who want that job or currently hold that job, not on the big shows, but they got either the ex-athlete tag or the degree in sports journalism or currently working as a sports journalist. Men outnumber women in that field like 90. I would be shocked if it's significantly less than 100-1. I would be really, really shocked. So it's just the numbers, how reaching for that diversity is giving women an unfair advantage. It's easier for a woman to get that gig than what it is for a man to get that gig. But that when that woman has that gig, they got to walk on eggshells and be considerate of diversity, considerate of the man. Got to make sure that we don't do anything to offend this person who statistically has an unfair advantage. It's a weird thing that's going on when it comes to all of that. And I cut you off because I wanted to go on a ramble about that because that was something that I wanted to say in my whole little opening spiel, but I wanted to go ahead and get that out. But go ahead.
Yeah, you're good. Well, I mean, it wasn't really, important anyway. You know what I mean? That's kind of a subtopic, But
you said what I just said wasn't important.
No, I'm just as in context of what the video was. Not, it's not a high priority. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it like that.
Goddamn, nigga.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that. This wasn't as high a priority. You know what I mean? But it's just something that's kind of on the back burner. That I mean, just honestly, I didn't mean to offend you or nothing like that. But the fact of the matter is just that most women don't want those jobs, and most women just don't care about sports enough like that anyway. Like, first of all, and then second of all, I mean, if there were not any women anchors or anything like that, I'm pretty sure the sports shows would go on, right? Like, people aren't necessarily tuning in, or what I mean? Like, what are we even watching the sports show for? We're trying to get news on the sports, stats, and things like that. That's not what the women most are really there for. They're there, to look good and present things and stuff like that. But you're not tuning in to see what Rachel Nichols says. Like, I'm not anyway. I'm not turning on First Take to see what Molly Karam has to say. Like,
right.
The market ultimately decides. That's basically what it is. And like things like this, when these gestures and these little, these whatever you want to call them, these race bait topics and things like that, is it could to kind of influence the market to want that. You see what I'm saying? Like, they can't force somebody to want, a woman, but if they make it to where you accept it and you would rather hear that because it's more soothing to your ears, then I mean, most people are just like, yeah, whatever about it. You know what I mean? But I know people that were really into sports and they've taken a step back. Now they're just casuals. You know what I mean? They're just casual watchers, things like that. But I think the whole John Gruden thing though really is just it's almost like it's extortion basically, right? Like I think about all the other
Explain the
coaches.
extortion. Explain extortion.
Right.
How's that
Yeah, I'm going
extortion?
to. Because if they can do it to him, then why can't they do it to any other coach? Or you see what I'm saying? Like how many how many coaches, executives have something that could be construed on the lines of racism, whether it's overt or not, right? Offensive to somebody. How many of them have those kind of emails and you know what I mean, all that type of stuff in their background? Like I would imagine it's you know a considerable amount. But yeah, it's pretty much, you know, like an acquiescing type of thing, you know. Kind of want you to bend the knee, basically. And that's
Oh,
just
right.
how I see it. And you know, as far as the like
Right. Oh, go ahead. Go
uh,
ahead.
yeah, one more thing about hypocritical this whole thing was though I found it so funny. I watched the video of Jason Whitlock. He made like a 4-minute video when he like directly responded to Randy Moss whenever Randy Moss said the onside or whatever he tweeted at him. Whitlock was like, he's like, Randy Moss, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid because I'm covered in the blood of Jesus Christ. And I was just like, okay. But then I went to Randy Moss's Twitter, and Randy Moss's header of his Twitter is a picture of the Bible. So it's like, you know, this is like, what's going on here? It's kind of crazy, man. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, I mean, you know, these reporters and stuff, if they don't bend the knee, they either I don't understand too. Why doesn't someone like Stephen A. Smith just start his own thing? You know, if he wants to
Well, I
be
mean,
a so free,
he's
whatever, he could
living.
make plenty of money by himself.
Yeah, but he living
Right.
pretty good off that. I mean, I'm sure he probably could. Hold on.
Right. Yeah. So
He probably could end up making more if he did his own thing. And even if
I
he
don't
didn't
think so.
exactly make more, I mean, I
I think he
like
could.
the idea
Even
of
if he didn't make
having my own thing versus
right.
working for somebody else. But I mean, listen, if somebody is paying you, I don't know if they paying him 10 million. I forgot exactly what it was. Somebody is paying you really well. I'm not going to knock somebody for riding that train all the way home, but eventually, yeah, I do want to own my own thing, bring in my own people, and
Yeah.
then eventually be to the point where I don't have to be the face of it. I don't have to be the star of it. I don't even have to be the main voice. I'm essentially
Right.
the man sitting back, delegating and making money off of people. You know,
Yeah, I
I'm the
like
one
that. I
that's
like that.
paying out $5 million for somebody else to make me 20. You know, that's eventually you want to try to take it there. But
Yeah.
shout out to
Well,
the
let me
shout
say
out, hold
one
on real
more.
quick,
Oh, go
oh
ahead.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. When you can hang out,
Go ahead.
you ain't got to necessarily go, but I appreciate you coming up. But Prophet of Thought series in the building. Well, first before I shout out Prophet of Thought, D-Rock Den came through with the $5 cash app. And where is that $5 drop? Shout out to D-Rock Den, always drop a $5. Prophet of Thought series in the building says sensitivity training. Yes, that is a big part of it as well. I've seen some sensitivity training. It was very cringe-worthy. There was a moment I was working for a company where it was actually pretty cool, where they after every morning we would have a safety moment where somebody will explain how they were doing something or they saw somebody doing something and they noticed something was unsafe, that wasn't up to OSHA standards, even if it wasn't even at the job, just something that was like, nah, you working on your garage right there. If you're going to be doing that, you probably should have a guard right there to make sure that this don't kill somebody. Then just explain a moment where you notice something, and then they'll just go around the room every day. Somebody would just have to start the meeting, a portion of the meeting, with a safety moment. Well, I found out later that they're doing diversity moments. I like the safety moments because I mean safety is important. I mean, I worked the job. The person that trained me, like a month later after they trained me on the job, they ended up getting a finger cut off on something that I did every day. They lost like the tip of their finger. I was like, wow, so safety matters. People be losing fingers. I've seen it. I've seen people lose fingers and all kind of stuff at job. I've worked at jobs where somebody lost a leg. People be getting hit by fork trucks and all kind of stuff happening. So I understand the importance of safety, but they was doing like they smuggled in there, and I wasn't working at this job. Somebody was explaining this to me, that they do diversity training. Okay. Diversity training and sensitivity training and all of that type of training, where they will have to say a moment of diversity when something happened and you noticed something that was probably insensitive to someone else's race, religion, or sexual orientation or background, or this or that, or blah blah blah. And so every day somebody had to step up and say, talk about that. It's like they're training everybody to just be real, sensitive of others' feelings, and it's goofy. It's goofy at the end of the day. But shout out to brother Xavier. Says when it comes to brothers on big media, hashtag brothers must be soft to win. Ugh. Shout out to brother Xavier. Shout out to brother Xavier. All right, we got check and mate in the building. Go ahead. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Hey, what up? Back to the Stephen A. Point. I think Stephen A. needs ESPN, and I think where shows
Why do you think
shows
you need
that.
it?
Well, look at First Take. Ever
Mhm.
since he got rid of Max Kellerman, the ratings have dropped significantly.
Is that
So
actually
that goes,
true? That's actually true. They said that.
yeah. If you Google it, there's multiple reports
Okay.
of the ratings dropping.
I'm not shocked by
And
that.
then,
Real quick, I'm not shocked by that. Max Kellerman is actually really good. Like I like Max
right.
Kellerman. I like his analytical breakdown. I can't believe Stephen A. Smith wanted to end it, because I thought they had a good thing going with Stephen A. being animated and Max Kellerman being more surgical and analytical. I think they matched well and had a good vibe. So, but I'm not shocked that the ratings went down. I mean, I thought you could probably replace that with anybody but damn. But all right. But hold on, real quick. Mr. Barlow on Twitter says Randy Moss crying over Gruden's emails proves white validation matters. Yep. Black self-hate is real. Yeah, okay. I don't know if I go as far as self-hate. Randy Moss wants to fight Whitlock, not right there. Right there. Jason Whitlock say something about you. You like put him up. You ready to fight?
In the name of the Lord.
And Gruden, but Gruden, you're gonna cry about that. I go back to what I should have said. It should have been like, yeah, Gruden shouldn't have said what he said. He said it. You say something sideways to a black man, you get fired, and that's that. And if I see Gruden in the street, it's on site. If he would have said that, I'd be like, that was ridiculous. However, at least he was rough and tough, and it sounded like a man when he said it. But with Jason Whitlock, okay, now you want to beat your chest and grab your nuts and talk your shit. You ready to fight now? I mean, like, no, that's where it get goofy. That's where it get goofy. Shout out to Mr. Barlow in the building with 5. All right, go ahead, checking, mate. You're saying something. I cut you off.
And plus, I'll add the whole Moss thing, crying. That was all for the camera. I don't think he would have cried off the camera if he was surrounded by masculine black men. Those are Croc's tears to me. As you know, as the point earlier, being on TV, working in the media, it's all about being on the far left. You have to make far left points. Everything is about racism now. Everything is about hating women and defending women. So what Clark and Moss did on TV, crying, those were fake tears.
Wait,
That's all for the camera.
Confirm this for me. What was Clark crying about? Was it the same thing, or was it something?
Yeah. From what I saw, somebody called his child a nigger. And he broke down.
that's what it was. I remember now. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I think a
Yeah,
lot
then
of these.
I think that ain't nothing to cry about either.
No, this we gotta specify though. He's in college. That's the big. He's already he's in college,
Okay,
so it's
he
not
in
like he was a
college,
young
and
kid.
what was it like? Some weird, like, if I remember it right, it was like some little parking dispute, or it was some little interaction they had while
Yeah,
driving.
a random person.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
not
a
like somebody
random
he had
person
to
while
see. It
driving.
wasn't a teacher. It wasn't nothing like that.
Okay, all right. So a random person while driving, where you was trying to go left and they was trying to go right, and y'all kind of had a situation, and just like people honk their horn and be like, "You mother," her word she yelled out was she called them a nigger and drove off. Like, I'm sorry. I mean, now, yes, the rule is still in place. If a white person call you a nigger, you still are authorized by the black delegation or the authority vested in them to whip the hell out of that white person's ass. That is still the rule. As far as I know, that has not been a revote or anything on that rule. We still are authorized to whip ass when they call us nigger. I get it. You don't
Hey,
cry about it on TV because somebody called your grown adult son a nigger in a situation when they are a parking dispute. Somebody yelled nigger and drove off. Like, come on. Like.
Hey, Contra, I'm in some more quick. I'm from Middle America. When I was in second grade, I got taken out of the city school, which is, like a 50-50 ratio, black versus white or whatever. And I went to all white school, pretty much all white. It was like me and like probably a handful of other black kids. And I got called nigger on the bus, right, by 5th, 6th, 7th graders and shit. I'm in second grade. My mom's told me, you gotta fight him. I fought one dude. After that, they still would say it whenever I wasn't around them, or they would say it where I couldn't hear it and such things like that. You see what I'm saying? So I understood a long time to take that shit with a grain of salt, honestly. Now, if it just happens, somebody, they're gonna have to deal with it as is, right? But I'm not gonna cry about that shit, right? So it wasn't until like the last few years through seeing this stuff through social media and sports that I finally realized how grateful I am that I went through that shit when I was younger, because I got a better education for it. Like, I remember it was stuff that I was learning in middle school, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade that I had already learned previously at the other school. So, and that's something that,
Wait,
I'm
hold on.
glad that my parents did.
Stop the show. So you're saying at the white school, the things that they were teaching you were 2 years ahead of what they were teaching in the same grade at the black school?
I mean, it wasn't black school, it was a city school. No doubt. Hell yeah, it was.
Well, city school, black
Yes, it was.
school.
Because
Okay.
that's the thing. When I went to middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I had a different principal every year there. Because I went back from like 2nd to 5th grade. After those years, I ended up going back to the city school because I wanted to be around where my friends were. Because I wasn't even in the school district for the other school, so I wasn't even around. I never got to saw any of those other kids outside of school. So like when I went to the other school, I had 3 different principals in 3 years in middle school. And a lot of teachers have a high turnover rate. They always have had there. So there's nothing uncommon to have 2, 3 different teachers for one class within 1 year. But where I came from before, I had teachers that were retired 20, 30, 40 years. And like I said, it's not necessarily the black white thing. That's just the way it was. That's how I saw it. You know what I mean? Because it was a smaller school as well too. So with the smaller school, you get more hands-on learning. You get there's more money that goes around to the fewer amount of students. But if you're just getting whatever at the public school, then that's honestly, there's sometimes too many kids to go around for even the staff to keep up. So, but yeah, I mean that's yeah, and even the success that I see from that's a higher success rate too, where I went to school at for those few years as well. So,
And I'm willing to bet that Randy Moss already regrets crying on TV. I bet you he does.
I bet he does.
Him and
And he's
Clark.
from West Virginia too, so he was dealing with racism for long. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro, that stuff ain't changing, bro. Just I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what more to be said about that. It just blows my mind. Just the reaction, just that reaction to what happened there. If men react like that one, it says we weak. I care that we as brothers do not look weak in these situations. All right. I didn't think what he said was that far, but if it was deemed that okay, it's too far, and you think it was too far, your response is not to cry. Your response
Right.
is to be, he said something wrong, and that's and we got his ass out of there, and it is what it is.
And if you look back when Randy Moss was playing, he was one of the most vocal players in the league. He always said what was on his mind. Now you mean to tell
Never
me
about
15
racism,
years
though.
later? I mean, but you mean to tell me 15 years later you're gonna cry on national TV because somebody called another black man? Well, somebody made fun of another black man's lips. That's just, that goes to show it was all fake. That's not even part of Randy Moss's personality. It's
Yeah.
all for the camera.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
I think
that was. Oh, go ahead.
another thing too I want to touch on. This is kind of a twofold topic. As far as Max Kellerman, I remember whenever Kanye West he did that little rant he had, the first one he did at TMZ where he said slavery was a choice, and they talked about it on the first take. And Stephen A. Smith was, as usually, emotional, right, full of boulder dash. And Max Kellerman just was not. He wasn't siding with Kanye West, but he was more or less like, it's not that big of a deal. But you know what I mean? And Stephen A. Smith was trying to get him to realize that, oh, all black people feel that was wrong for him to say this, that, and the third. And Max Kellerman's background, I don't want to say it on YouTube, but Max Kellerman's race, right?
What do you mean?
Stephen A. See, I'm gonna get to it. Stephen A. Smith pretty much juxtaposed slavery to Germany, I'll just say.
Okay,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
no,
What
got
happened
you,
in
got
Germany,
you.
right? So he said if Bobby Fischer, which is a world-class chess player, whatever, like the number one chess player, the Michael Jordan of chess, basically. And he was like, Max Kellerman, if Bobby Fischer would have said that about Germany, don't you think that would be a big deal? And Max Kellerman just shrugged his shoulders. He was like, I wouldn't care. I would be like, it's just Bobby Fischer. You see what I'm saying? So I think the reason that these shows like you do and stuff, we talk about this stuff because these athletes and entertainers are propped up as the vanguard. They're propped up as the bellwethers for what black people should strive to be in America. So it wasn't until I started making videos on my platform, what made me start making videos is that, he's got these guys like Shannon Sharp up here saying, oh, we speak for all black people. Like, no, you don't. You don't qualify to speak for all black people. So it's just crazy. Nobody ever talks about Steve Stout. Nobody ever talks about Al Heyman, which is, the dude who is in charge of Floyd Mayweather's money. He's black. Nobody ever talks about him. Nobody ever wants to strive to be that. So I think it's just that, we touch on these things because these people are propped up as the epitome, the pinnacle. That's not what, people in, Caucasian people don't strive to be Christian McCaffrey and stuff like that. No, they want to be, whoever's propped up in front of them, the Elon Musk and things like that. So, I think, it's just, we just got to give our side out. And I appreciate that shit, Bernard. So,
yeah, no doubt.
And I want to talk about Whitlock a little bit.
Oh yeah, go ahead, checking mate. Go ahead.
Now Whitlock, I am a fan of Whitlock. He does say a lot of things that needs to be said.
I'm starting to really like him a lot. Very briefly, he had said something along the lines. He had even mentioned Kevin Samuels. He mentioned a lot of people online. He's basically said the Avengers are assembling. He's like black men who's speaking up and standing on a square about things and not just being handheld to go walk a certain way. He named a lot of different names of so he said some things where I don't want to misquote him, but he gets it. I'll just say that he definitely gets it. Go ahead.
He gets it, but there are times where he gets challenged either physically, like what Randy Moss just did on Twitter, or a few years ago he was interviewed by Roland Martin. And what I noticed about him is he tends to hide behind Jesus. He'll say these bold statements, which many of them are true and I agree with. But whenever somebody come at him, with that same energy, he hides behind Jesus. Well, I'm a Christian. He doesn't really answer the question directly. He runs around the questions and runs behind Jesus. That's one issue I do have with Whitlock. That's it though.
Yeah, I mean that one isn't the biggest thing ever, the biggest problem ever. But I mean, I do notice that he do that. He will fall back on. He'll try to sprinkle Jesus dust over the conversation sometimes. I don't think he does that as a way to hide. I just think that people who real Jesus-y tend to do that. I never looked at it as he's trying to avoid something. I will go check out his discussion with Roland Martin. That should be interesting because I do like listening to Roland Martin interview conservatives. The Roland Martin is pretty good. He knows how to properly challenge what's being said, and so it ends up being a good conversation. So I do definitely want to check that out. But we are rolling up on 2 hours and 30 minutes into this thing. So I normally shut it down at 3 hours. We can wrap this one up a little early because it's oh shoot, I don't see. I'm gonna say this. It is Saturday. My mind was Sunday. In my mind,
Hey, one more thing though, Bernard.
Oh,
About
go ahead.
HBCUs though, I don't think
Oh
it's
yeah,
all.
yeah. Go ahead.
I don't think it's all blue sky breakout for the HBCUs. I think we're being fed some low hanging fruit.
What do you mean?
Because the HBCU funding, it just got cut from 50 billion to 2 billion. So in my mind, I don't think they're going to have enough money to employ guys like Deion Sanders. I don't think they're going to have enough money to get these blue chip athletes like a lot of them have recruited or committed to do it. I hope so, but I don't know.
Thing is, they won't need the funding from Biden. They won't need it if the black athletes just go there. If the top black athletes go there, they won't need the funding. They'll have the TV deals. They'll make money. They'll make money selling the jerseys. They'll make their money. This is flat out. They will make their money if everybody go there. Shout out to Little Big Nate in the building. It says Dave Chappelle, black men aren't allowed. No man, really, but black men have been under the tutelage and direction of the left, and black women are allowed to speak freely. Yeah, leftists thank Biden. Well, black men tend to speak freely if they're talking from the perspective of the left. They can, but in your mind, I'm sure you would say, and I would say too, that they really not speaking freely when they speaking from that direction. But I think a lot of them are inceptioned and brainwashed and zombified enough to where they think that that's actually best for them. But anyway, we about to wrap this thing on up, about to get up on out of here. I'd like to thank everybody who came through in the building today. Thank you, D-Rock Dan, who hit me up on the Cash App, and thank you everybody who came through and supported and hit the like button and super chatted, share, subscribe, whatever you did to support the stream today in any way, shape, or form. I greatly appreciate you. One announcement, far as I know, I will speak to him. Actually, hold on. Little Big Nate, I'm dropping a link for you. So we'll have an off the air. We can go ahead and talk through StreamYards afterwards. Because I think Little Big Nate is going to be streaming on my platform later on. I do believe that will be the case. So because he got a 1 week ban again. So I'm letting him borrow my platform to come on in and do his thing. So be looking out for that. I don't know exactly when it will be starting. Maybe around 2 o'clock-ish. Who knows? 3 o'clock-ish, 4 o'clock-ish. I don't know. But we will find that out. We will work that out. So be looking out for that. Little Big Nate, hopefully you just heard what I said. So I'm putting that link in there for you to come on up. We can come on and talk about it right now while we right when I get off the air.
Yeah, Little Big Nate shows on your on your platform be funny, man. That last one, man, I was rolling.
Oh, yeah,
I was at work laughing, yo.
Little Big Nate does his thing. Little Big Nate definitely does his thing. YouTube don't like him, so they be trying to censor and block him or whatever. But I got his back over here. Well, I'm gonna sit here in the back chat, so even when I get off the air, you still can take the link, Little Big Nate. But all right, with that said, y'all, we are out of here. Peace. Today's show is brought to you by the Division 6 comic book, created and produced by Michael Varner and executive producer Theodore Young. Division 6 is a James Bond meets Mission Impossible-like geopolitical thriller. The protagonist is Seth Banks, an African-American male genius in cryptology and economics that secretly works for a rogue organization of the CIA called Division 6. Be sure to click the link in the chat room or in the video description to view the comic book. New chapters are added bi-weekly.